Franchise Sports Media!
What's going on, fight fans? This is the main event on Franchise Sports Media. I'm your host, Kalani Lua, and man, oh man, UFC Noche went down. It was phenomenal. The main event saw Diego Lopes taking out one of the fighting nerds, Jean Silva, in spectacular fashion. Now, Diego Lopes, we know, is one of the funnest fighters to watch in the featherweight division, but we also know that he was unsuccessful in his chance at uncrowning the champion, Alexander Volkanovski, which it's Volkanovski, okay? Not too many guys at 45 won't be able to defeat him. There is one. We'll get to that one a little bit later. But Silva, Lopes, what a showdown these two. They put on a great fight. When they were standing up and he was at a distance, Silva was picking Lopes apart. He was giving him the business. Silva, truly one of the future stars. I mean, he's a star right now, but truly one of the future stars, possibly a future champion. Just wasn't his night. Got caught, and what was interesting, he gets caught. It's one of those simple mistakes that you make. You step the wrong way, you lean in one way, you don't pull back far enough. Next thing you know, you get clipped, you stumble, you fall down, and then it's over. Lopes jumps on him, ground and pound, takes him out. Referee says, no mas, no mas. That's it, it's done. Diego Lopes once again sees his hand raised up high as the victor. Now you say, okay, well, we saw you against Volkanovski, and you were unsuccessful in that title challenge. What's next? Does Volkanovski try to look for one more? See, now, what would have made sense if Silva won, that would have been a new opponent, fresh for Volkanovski, and it would have been a nice way to say, okay, if this is my last shot at 145, Volkanovski that is, then let's go out with somebody new. I don't know if Lopes is in position yet to get another title shot so quick. I will say this, Lopes and even Brian Ortega, like we said with him on the last show, they need to move up to 155 at some point. Ortega needs to move it now. In fact, he should have did it yesterday. But you look at Lopes and you say, okay, at some point, that mass that you got, that you carry, you're going to have to move up to 155, buddy. It's a lot for him to cut down to 145. But nonetheless, he's been able to do it. We'll see how long he can continue there and how many more victories he needs to put together. Now, with a win like this over Silva, possibly just one more. But who's the opponent going to be? Will it be someone like Aljamain Sterling? Possibly. But at this particular point in time, Diego Lopes, impressive. Clearly the number one contender at 145 behind the champion Volkanovski. But with the domination Volkanovski showed against him, don't know if one victory is going to get Lopes back across the octagon from Volkanovski just yet. For Silva, this is a step back, but he has shown on his climb up. I am head and shoulders above a lot of these guys here. I look forward to see who he's matched up against. Needs to work on his inside game a little bit more, but again, I mean, that's nitpicking. You're taking on Diego Lopes, one of the top assassins at 145. It's hard to sit there and say, oh, he needs to improve this, needs to improve that. You're going against Lopes and see how many areas you look good in. So for Silva, he was doing great when he kept the distance. He just needs to refine it and then go ahead and see what he can do next going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if some point in the future, not close, but in the faraway future, he moves up to lightweight as well, tries his luck at 155. We shall see. But UFC Noche, what a spectacular event. It went down. You got David Martinez. He was able to get the victory in the co-main event over Rob Font. What a showing there, going the distance, going all the way to the final bell, showing that, hey, against one of the true veterans in Rob Font, one of the toughest nails, tougher than the $2 steak, he's able to go out there and outshine him and prove his wealth. So in the bantamweight division, Martinez is another name we all need to be on the lookout for. I'm a big boy myself, as y'all can see. And I always root for the big boys. But I always root for these fighters. Just move up, move up. Kevin Gastelum, what are you doing, buddy? You started at 170, but you barely made weight there. Then you try 185. He's still struggling with the weight at 185. Now you want to say, okay, I get it. Like Robert Whittaker, if I move up, I'm going to be a little lighter physically, but I'm going to be a lot faster, a lot more quick and explosive than these guys. We know Kevin Gastelum is one of the best fighters on the UFC roster. But like myself, he can't stay away from the burgers and pizzas. But unlike him, I don't got no fights coming up, so I can do it as much as I want to. My heart may not like it, but still. Gastelum missed weight once again. It was like the 17th time in his career he's missed weight in the UFC. They had to fight at a catch weight of 191. Does he move up to 205? I mean, he really going to be undersized in that one. He's going to look like everyone's little brother. This is why we have said, Dana, put in 195, 185 to 205. That's a 20-pound jump. That's a lot. 195 cruiserweight. That'll be phenomenal for a lot of these guys who are a bit big for middleweight, but a little too small for light heavyweight. Gastelum, I wish you nothing but the best. You are so fun to watch. But my man, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Stay up. Look, tell the cookies they can wait till after the fight. After the weigh-ins, have all the sweets you want. But he was able to get the win. So despite being a little overweight, he was able to walk away with the victory. Shout out to him, but man, oh man. Who I was very curious to see how she would bounce back from her recent loss, her first in her UFC career, was women's strawweight contender Tatiana Suarez, the female Habib, going out there, utilize her wrestling to dominate the female competition in the strawweight division. She gets the victory over Amanda Lemos via decision. What's interesting with Suarez, is that she probably would have been a champion by now, but several injuries to her knees set her back many times. It's been unfortunate to watch because every time it looked like she's going to get there, injured. Every time she's going to come back, injured. Well, then they finally said, let's just put her in there and see how she does. She froze like a deer in the headlights against Wang Zhili. Now, granted, Zhili's one of the greatest of all time. She's taking on Valentina Shevchenko later on in the super fight. Woo! That's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait for that one to happen. But Suarez just looked like, okay, now's not the right time. Kind of like GSP when he first fought Matt Hughes, where he couldn't look Hughes in the eyes. Remember, he's looking up, he's looking down, couldn't even look his opponent in the face. Looked okay, but just got overwhelmed. What happened afterwards? He went on a run, and the rest is history. GSP, So for Suarez, is this her first step into redeeming herself and climbing back up that ladder and mountain, hopefully injury-free, to get another title shot at the strawweight division? We shall see. Now, I'm not going to dive into it too much because we are going to do an FSM show on it like we did last time for the preview, but there was a little fight out here in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, Allegiant Stadium, Netflix, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-wee, bing, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, bam. The stuff he was on, you couldn't understand. Bud Crawford went out there and put on a clinic on Canelo Alvarez. Look, this is nothing away from the Mexican superstar, one of the greatest fighters, not just Mexican, but greatest fighters of all time. His, like someone said on the show, his legacy is already cemented. But Bud Crawford that night was him, and he proved it without a shadow of a doubt. What's interesting is you want to say, well, who's next now, Bud? You got all the belts. You got 25. You see when he stood there, he had like 25 belts. Hey, little man, you hold one. Manager, you hold one. Mama, you hold one. Everybody was holding a belt. Well, who's next? Well, he did move up 2 weight classes. Looked good. But there's some monsters up there. One named David Benavidez. Don't do that. Don't do that, bud. Don't do that. Don't do that. Well, do you want to not do what Roy Jones Jr. did, move all the way up to heavyweight, defeat John Ruiz, and because your rival from Pensacola, Florida, Antonio Tarver's running their mouth, you try to cut weight down to 175. You don't do it the right way. You make weight, but you're so dehydrated by the 5th round. You're over there gassing, not looking like the Roy Jones we all know, and he was just never the same after that. So if Bud was to move back down, it'll be a slow cut to get down to a better weight. There's potential of Errol Spence taking on Jameer Charlo. The winner of that possibly could get one. Maybe Errol Spence says, hey, you fought me after a car accident. I wasn't myself. Give me a rematch. Look how I look against Charlo. Charlo, who he was chirping with ringside when he was fighting Spence, maybe says, hey, let's finally put these words to action. Let's see what you got. So there's some options there in the boxing world. But if you was to look across from the ring to the octagon, there's an MMA fighter who basically is following a blueprint. Hey, what's a good way to become a big mega superstar? Well, if I'm not mistaken, there was one guy who came from an international country, came over here, talked the big game, spoke real loud, very confident, brave, brash, bravado, but he was knocking everybody out. He's got a tattoo on his arm, tattoo on his chest. He's got a tattoo going straight down the middle of his back. I'm going to get those as well. Then at featherweight, at 145, I'm going to just knock everybody out. All these legends, he even knocked out Dustin Poirier and Jose Aldo. Well, this guy knocked out Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. And then the guy who wrote the blueprint said, you know what? I'm going to move up to 155, take on Eddie Alvarez, take the title from him, be a 2-division champion. Well, this guy says, yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm going to move up to 155, and I'm going to beat Charles Oliveira. Knocked him out. Ilia Topuria has followed step by step the blueprint of Conor McGregor to get to where he's at. You want to be the man? You want to be great? You want to be among the pantheon of greatness? Follow the one that's already did it. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Kobe Bryant followed Michael Jordan. Many have tried to follow Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Many fail. But you try to follow the greats in front of you because guess what? If they can do it, so can I. If one man can do it, another can. Ilia Topuria is now saying, hey, bud, why don't you go ahead and fight me? I'm at 55. I could possibly move up to 60, or we can meet somewhere in the middle. Let's throw down. Remember, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fought each other as well. After Conor became a 2-division champion, Ilia now a 2-division champion. Why not? Why not? There's already comparison between Bud and Floyd Mayweather. Canelo saying, hey, I think Bud is better than Floyd. We'll dive into that more on the show and what that is. I think that's a bunch of malarkey, but also see his reasoning for it. But wouldn't it be fun to see Ilia Topuria, MMA, UFC versus boxing? Now, Dana maybe doesn't want it because you look at what happened to Conor McGregor. He got all that money from Floyd and, well, just wasn't the same fighter when he came back to the UFC the handful of times he did. But Ilia definitely looks like I'm not here for the next 10 years. Let me try to do as much as I can while I can and continue to make history. Islam Makhachev ran to 170. He didn't want none of me. No. He went back to them Dagestan mountains, shaved the beard and said, no, I don't want none of Ilia, at least right now. Ilia might move up to 170 to chase him if he's successful up there, but Ilia's looking and said, hey, why not me and Bud? It won't affect what I do in the UFC. I could go out there. He's one of the toughest boxers, tremendous power at 155 and 45 in the UFC. Bud is a totally different animal, though, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I'd be all here for it. We're talking about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, Jake Paul taking on Tank Davis, and now we want to sit there and act like Ilia Topuria and Bud Crawford is so far and out of reach when we've already seen the UFC versus boxing before? What I think would have been better for Ilia, or at least it would help his case if he wants such a fight. Dana White has said it. He has to go to Spain. Has to be in front of his countrymen, the stadium, the whole country behind him. When you see that image, we're visual people. We learn visually. We see things visually from a different perspective. We didn't think Bubba was going to be able to do it. He went against Canelo. We see it with our eyes and said, damn, I guess we was wrong. When you see Ilia in front of that Spanish crowd, and everyone's cheering him on like it's a Real Madrid El Clasico matchup with Barcelona. And it's just one of those atmospheres where everyone's chanting, they're singing, the whole crowd is behind him. He comes out like the sovereign hero returning home, knocks somebody out. The momentum then is like, we can make some money off of this. Because right now, he's only fought outside of it because UFC hasn't come to Spain yet. But Dana has said, hey, man, I want to go to Spain. I got a superstar from Spain. We need to go over there. He does that. I think for Ilia, he'll have more say, or at least more leverage in trying to push for a super fight with a boxing champion, Bud Crawford, or, that's where I think Ilia needs. He needs to try to push for that one, or get on a New York card. It won't be this year because I already filled it up, but he needs to get on a big-time card where he can once again show what he can do and show that, hey, I knocked out Charles Oliveira. That's not because Charles Oliveira is older or has been caught the last few fights. It's because I'm that damn good. I pretty much know what's going to happen, but I think it'll still be fun. Someone as confident as Ilia Topuria taking on Terence Bud Crawford, I think it'll be fun to watch. The dynamics of it, give me a whole lot to talk about on this show with you guys. So I think that'll be a lot of fun to check out for that if it was to ever happen. For Bud Crawford, you say, well, what's next? A whole lot. Hell, he could just retire and go away. We're going to talk about that more as we get closer to that. But in the coming weeks, remember, we got UFC 320 going on out here, where Alex Pereira is taking on Magomedov Ankalaev for the light heavyweight championship. Okay, can he go back out there and reclaim his title, or is the Russian really the real dude? But the day before, we got Power Slap 15 going on. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think I got a couple of interviews lined up, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So be sure to tune in to the main event going forward, and every week. Why wouldn't you? Be sure to tune into the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. Be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Cannot wait to bring you guys more content and more interviews in the coming weeks. I promise you guys, just like I did before, I got some guests coming up. Stay tuned. You're going to enjoy. Till next time, fight fans, I'm Kalani Lua. This is the main event on Franchise Sports Media. Peace.
Franchise Sports Media!